Hello, I'm going to show you how to make my mask. So where did the one I just made go? I did the video and then the video didn't work because I had the pincher that holds the camera on the little tripod pinching the button that turns the camera on and off. So that didn't work. I don't know what I did with the one I just made. God, I don't know if you've seen what my masks actually look like. So my masks look like this. And these are the inside. This is a men's. So I use black on the inside of all the men's. One, so you can determine which one is a man's, just in case you have the same fabric. And also so I can know very easily which one is men's size, which one is women's size, and the kids are significantly smaller, so I can tell those. And the kids, I use a yellow, depending on if it's a unisex color, pink or tan. And the women's, I use the pink or the tan. Sometimes I use yellow, but not on purpose, if I just have a brain fart and cut it out wrong. Anyway, so I cut the pattern out already. What I want to say is you want to trace the pattern, if you can, with a pen, depending on the color of your fabric, because you don't want to pin inside your fabric as much as possible. If you do have to pin it, if you can't trace it, make sure you pin very close to the edges so you're not putting holes through the fabric, because then it's going to negate the purpose. So right now I have the wrong sides are together. You have to make sure that you put the right sides, the outside, the nice fabric needs to go on the inside for this purpose. So what you're going to do is you're going to put that like that. You're going to have the wrong sides out because you need to sew a seam straight down, and you want to sew that close to the edge. So I'm using the inside of the foot as my guide. So if you have a fix button on your machine that will lock your stitch in place, you can use that. Or you can use the back and forth, the reverse button, which is what I do at the end usually. I just do the reverse stitch. So you just push the reverse button, hold it down for as long as you want, a couple stitches, let it go. So you have 3 stitches in a row, so it locks it in place. You may already know that. So then you just cut it out. The machine my grandmother just gave me is an upgrade from the newer machine that I have, because it cuts the thread for me, so it's much less waste. So now you're going to take your lining and you're going to put it right side out. I already did the lining. I do a whole bunch of linings all at once. So you put that one right side out. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the inside, which is going to end up being the outside. But for this purpose right now, it's the inside. You're going to take your right side and your right side, and you're going to put those together. Now, I don't pin here. I don't know what you have for supplies for sewing. If you're not an avid sewer, you might not have what I have. But I have little clips. So I just clip that corner seam right there, which is the nose, is the top. I clip that together. I try not to pin. I don't want to pin if I don't have to. And then I take the bottom and I match it up so you have both of your seams matched up together. It's actually one seam, but I'm saying like both sides. And then I just make sure that that seam right along is all together. Now, if you're not cutting out your lining and your outside fabric at the same time, it might not be exact. Mine's always over a little bit, but that's okay, because you're just going to stitch right over it anyway, so don't worry about that. So now what you're going to do is you're going to come to your machine. Wish you could see the machine a little bit better. I'm trying to do this the best I can here. Let's see if I can angle this down a little bit. This is one of those little hangy tripod things that's moldable, so it's not very tall. So now I lock my stitch in place again, and then you just sew to the middle seam. Then you stop, you put your needle down into the fabric, and you pivot slightly. If you don't pivot, It's gonna look funny when you go back and iron it after this stage is over. And then we sew back down, and then you wanna lock your stitch in place. And then you cut it off, and you move along to the other side. I always cut my threads as I go so I don't have a ton to do after. And you go back to the other side. And I do the smallest seam allowance I possibly can without going over the edge. If my fabrics aren't exact, my pattern pieces aren't exactly cut the same, I make sure I go in a little bit so I don't run off and have to go back and stitch it, because sometimes when you flip it right side out, you realize you got too close to the edge and it comes apart. So you want to make sure that you're not too close to the edge. Then, oh, I got the sun beaming off of something just sitting right in my face here. Go right around. Don't go too fast. If it's going to get you offline, go as slow as you need to go. You don't have to go fast. So then I cut this off, my little tails. And then I flip it. Let's go back to me here. I flip it right side out. Okay. And then I go to my iron. Some people, they just, you know, finger press it and stick it through the machine. I don't like to do that. I like to make sure that my seams are where they're supposed to be before I top stitch. You don't even need to top stitch if you just iron it down, and then you can skip my next step and then go right to the part where you make the little canals, or whatever you want to call it for the ties, the little things for the ties. So you want to press that down. You want to press this down. Hope you can see I'm not in the way. I go over here. Try to make sure you get as close to your seam as possible. Let's get that out of the way before it dumps over. I hate that my ironing board is so rickety. And then just make sure that you get that inside seam pressed down really nicely so it goes through your sewing machine if you're going to do the top stitching. But like I said, this is optional. You don't have to do it. I just like to make sure if people are going to be washing these masks, of course they're going to be. At least I hope they're going to be. Oh, I ironed a thing in there. That's okay. This is also a great way if you're going to top stitch to make sure that you don't sew any wrinkles into your project. So, but I always top stitch to make sure that, you know, if you're gonna throw it in the washing machine, when it comes out, it's not all separated and you have to re-iron it and everything. I haven't thrown them in the machine. I might actually do that today. Throw mine in the washing machine. I haven't gone out much, so I haven't worn it much, but throw it in the washing machine and see how it comes out to make sure that it still comes out somewhat flat. Obviously, it'll be a little bit wrinkled because it's cotton in the washing machine, but in any case. So I go back to my machine. Sorry, this is a little crazy. And I just stitch down as close to the edge as possible, probably 1/8 of an inch. You do not have to lock your stitches on this one. Make sure you pivot at that seam. But you don't have to lock your stitches because this is just top stitching. This is just decorative. You don't have to worry about it being functional and coming apart, because you're also going to turn in the ends. So you don't have to worry about that. And then, so I'm not gonna fix. Of course, it always takes off like a shot. Okay. Now, this part is done. I almost want to do a time lapse of like a batch making just to see how it comes out. If I can put my camera in a better place where you can really get everything, that would be pretty awesome. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the iron and I'm going to fold, and I'm just trying to see if you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to fold in my edges, double fold so the raw seam is on the inside, but have it basically, you're just rolling the edges in. Almost like you're hemming a pair of pants in a way. I'm trying to get them as straight as possible. And then I just press that down so it's easy to just get it into the machine and sewn. And then you go to the other side. You roll that seam in. Press that, press that down. And then you come back to the sewing machine. And on this one, of course, you want to make sure that you're sewing along the inside edge, not the outside edge, because you want that little canal to be able to run your tie through. I do not do the fixed stitch on this one. I do the back and forth because I think it looks nicer. It gives it that finished look because you're going back over your stitches 3 times. And I mean, this is it. That's all there is to this. And I'm looking at my video time and it says 11.5 minutes. And that's only because I'm sitting here talking to you. It really does not take a long time to make these masks, especially once you get the hang of it. And that's it. So I already did the tie, and I'm going to show you that video, how you can do the ties. But you really can just cut up a t-shirt like around. You can just cut it and then cut it in half, like make it a long strip instead of having it be all the way around. But here is the mask, all done. So you can take your t-shirt, and if you cut them in a 1-inch strip, you pull it and it will curl right up. As anybody knows, if you've ever cut in a t-shirt like off at the bottom before, it curls up. So then you don't have to worry about sewing any edges. Or you can do the bias tape, which I'm going to show you in the next video that I've already did, because I did this once before and it didn't come out. It came out in like 15 different little videos because it kept stopping and starting. So that's it. If you have any questions, let me know, but that's how easy it is to make these. And if you want to make them with pockets, I can show you how to do that too. I haven't done that because that would be an extra step that would take me a lot longer to make these, and people have been waiting on their masks for a really long time. But I can show you how to do that, to make a little pocket so you can slip something up on the inside, even if it's just a paper towel, something that you can slip up on the, or coffee filters I've heard are amazing. So you can just throw that inside and then it just gives you a little bit extra protection. But if you're not working in the medical field or somewhere where you're out all day long and coming in contact with people, just quick trip to the grocery store or Walmart or something, this is just fine. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.